Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Dan Craddock of Metro Nova Creative. Dan, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Thanks, Christian. Really good to see you. I appreciate having a moment to talk a little bit more. It's always nice to catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely nice to get the opportunity to hear, more about you. And before we hopped in, I wanted to read a little bit more about Dan so you can hear about all these awesome things he and his team are working on. And Dan is the founder and creative director of Metro Nova Creative, a design shop based in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Metro Nova Creative's mission is to inspire business owners to love your brand. And Dan has been in the design industry for nearly 2 decades and running his branding business full time for 5 years. His passion is to help small business owners learn, grow, and succeed while supporting community. Dan, are you ready to speak to the IMCO community?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, let's do it then. So to kind of kick everything off, I wanted to rewind the clock a little bit, hear a little bit more on how you got started. Could you take us through what I call your CEO story? What led you get started with the business?
Yeah, so I've always, from a young age, been a creative guy. And third grade, instead of studying for the TOS tests in Texas for our Texas people, I was working on comic books and things like that. And really fast forward through high school, just kind of trying to find my place creatively, stumbled into the graphic design field and kind of got rolling with it. And I did freelance design and worked as a production designer in print shops and sign shops and just did the whole thing for years and years and years. And it started a family. My wife and I, we had just gotten married. We just had our first child, and I started working with a print shop. And after 3 years, I took the guy from 1,500 square foot space to like a 4,000 square foot warehouse space doing graphic design and vehicle wraps and websites and all this stuff. And the career was just going nowhere, and wasn't really a good fit, just not a positive atmosphere. And we had just had our second child, and she was a month old, and I quit. And we just started, I just jumped in. And I was very fortunate that I had, that decade or so of freelance clients that were like, finally, you're available 9 to 5. All right, let's do this, and so I was very fortunate to have that opportunity to start on a good pace, leaving a career and starting a business when you've got 2 kids and we were broke. I mean, my wife and I, we didn't have savings or money, and I think that's the majority of people that start businesses are just, we can't get any, lower. So we might as well take a bet on ourselves and just get going. And that's what we did.
Nice. Well, definitely appreciate you for doing that. And just like your clients, being able to kind of finally have you available and be able to provide all those great services that you do to your clients. I think so many times that when we're in, whatever position we might be in, we're really great at our craft and really great at what we do. But so many times there's like a cap, or maybe there's not a great environment or something that just doesn't kind of create that opportunity. And I think so many people don't make that bet on themselves. So I appreciate you for doing that, obviously, and reminding us of how important it is to sometimes, ante up, on yourself to kind of see your talents come to fruition.
Yeah. You can always say, well, it's hard work or I got lucky. And, I think it's kind of this amalgamation of a number of different things. I was privileged enough to be in a position where, we had family close. So we had, childcare available and just kind of the stars aligned. But, and I think a big part of starting a business, it's kind of this give and take of, being a little, arrogant, not narcissistic. Like you got to be, I'm the number one, guy. But there's a level of being humble that you have to bring with it too. And I think, there's a lot of struggle to say like, well, I mean, I was just so lucky and so fortunate, when realistically, I mean, it's hard work, and you have to be ready. I did the 15, 16 hour, 17-hour days, 6 days a week for a year and a half. I mean, you have to be prepared to jump in and really do that. And you have to have the family structure. I was fortunate enough to have, my wife was amazing. And my family was amazing, just to be there to back you up, and when you're exhausted and you're angry and you're short tempered, because you just haven't slept in a week, like to have those pieces behind you are just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge. And I think so many times, when we talk about business, we talk about starting a business, we sometimes zoom over that human aspect, the family aspect oftentimes. And I think that having that structure is, of course, being able to have financing or being able to have the team members and things like that, but also being able to have that support by those you love and care about is so huge in terms of increasing the likelihood of you being successful, because it can be a grind and it can be a lot of work and, blood, sweat, and tears, for lack of a better term, that you put into the business.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And um, that's definitely something that I wish I had known, up front was, that hashtag hustle mentality is important to have, but it's not sustainable. So you
Mhm.
have to work hard and then put the pieces in place, like you said, building the team and stuff that has to be part of it, or you don't get to do that for very long.
Yeah, absolutely. Burnout is very real, especially when you're starting a business. So you have to make sure that you're paying attention to that. And so I wanted to drill down a little bit deeper and hear a little bit more about Metro Nova Creative. Could you take us through exactly what you do for your clients and how you serve them?
Yeah, so we're a design shop, but really, we're kind of like a branding uh, firm, and in my experience, through the last 15 plus years or so, um, everyone's got their idea of what branding is, right? Like everyone's got like branding are these six things. I really just kind of narrowed it down and said, brand is developed in my eyes of two elements, and that's the visual and the voice. And the visual are those, the logo design. So we do logo design and website graphic design. We'll design your print and marketing materials for you. So the visual are those visual cue elements with the logos and colors and type and consistent look and everything. So those are important. And the reason they're important is because they're identifiers for the second aspect of branding, which is the voice. And the voice is just, the almost kind of human emotional spirit of the product or the service. The marketing materials, the content, the videos, the blog posts, like all those things that develop kind of the feel that your customers should get from utilizing your product or services. Like that's a big aspect of branding. And so that's why at Nitronova, like we kind of have these two avenues of service. We want to be there for whether it's a brand new business or somebody that's been running for 5 years and is ready for that refresh. So we're able to do a logo design, and we have an identity package that's really popular where it's you're getting three logo concepts. You'll pick one, 3 rounds of revisions. We'll get all your social media graphics, so your profile and cover photos set for you. So you get that representation, consistent representation. And then you can actually pick 4 deliverables. So, business cards, brochure, postcards, pop-up banners, whatever. We'll design all of that stuff for you. So it's all kind of a one inclusive, one-stop shop and done package. So we, coming from being in that print and sign shop world and really dealing with a lot of small businesses that didn't have branding at all, and going, okay, well, there has to be something that's available for them. So I've really built the business around putting together these kind of easy consumable packages, um, that make sense for the market. Now, obviously, we have clients that don't need a package, and we certainly put stuff together for them that makes sense for what their needs are. But the bulk of the business is, we're going to prepare packages that make sense for your business, both, short term, long term, respecting equity, all those things that are important. And then once we're done with all those visual elements, we can take a client on and we'll write blog posts for the website we just built. We'll manage your social media, help you with Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is. We do Facebook ads and we kind of put a lot of different things together. Mailchimp email newsletters have been really big lately. We're seeing some pretty decent numbers coming back from them, especially in the retail environment. People are home and they're shopping online. So, that's kind of how we've built the business is we want to be able to take a client, from start to finish and handle all those things so that we make sure that we have that consistency.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge, and I love that. I'm gonna call it an equation. I don't know if you call it equation, that visibility. I mean that voice and that and the voice and the visibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, those going in tandem, and that opportunity, because I feel like they both need to be um kind of understood or need to be manifested itself throughout the business. And I love how you defined it as that human aspect of business, as we kind of talked about in the very beginning. So many times we forget about that. We forget how the human aspect of your business manifests itself in your social media updates, or potentially in your newsletter that you're sending out, or the blog posts that you have on your website, or the website as a whole. And I think understanding how both of them are in tandem to be able to, at the end of the day, showcase to your potential product, your clients and customers, this is what I do, this is what I stand for, this is who I am, is an absolutely huge thing.
Yeah, it is, and it's a big part of what we bring to the table on the marketing side is I'm a big, proponent of like empathetic marketing, and just, providing value, and we do a lot of service industry stuff. So we're typically, with their content stuff, we're reminding people of fun and easy things that they can do around their home, and the reason we do that is because if you give somebody, hey, here's how to fix a toilet, like the flap around toilet, right? We have a plumbing company or something. That plumbing company doesn't want to come out and burn labor time to fix the flap around a toilet. They want to come out and replace the toilet, or do a whole bathroom, right? So you give their audience these kind of micro projects that they can do, and now they feel good about themselves, right? And now they have that emotional connection. They got the warm and fuzzies because they figured out how to fix this thing on their own from your content. And so now they're looking around like, what else can I do in the house? And then those ideas start popping up, if it's a contractor or something, like, well, I fixed my toilet, but this bathroom is kind of outdated. Maybe we should get a quote, and so there's these kind of nice moments of just, having those opportunities. It's fun, and it works. It does.
Yeah, absolutely love that. And the empathetic marketing that you mentioned, because I think so many times, not only does it give them the warm and fuzzies, but they probably also remember where they found it, or where they saw it, what video they saw, or what blog post or, email newsletter they might have seen, because it provides an opportunity to have that human connection that with a client, with a company and what they do, so that you're hopefully top of mind when those not so easy projects come about.
Absolutely. And the numbers just show it. I mean, I used to do, I would randomly just jump on Facebook Live and just and call it business brainstorm, and just invite people that were thinking about starting businesses. Hey, just come on and ask me questions. It doesn't even have to be about what we do. Just, hey, how do you get an LLC? How do you do, and people say, well, you're spending a lot of time on people that aren't ready to hire you. I'm like, yeah, but you can prep your market. If you give them good value up front, and you create that brand trust that I'm, the authority in the subject, then when they're ready, they'll come back, and we've seen it. There's people that I did little business brainstorms for like 2 years ago. And then 6 months ago, they hired us and did a identity pack or a startup special that we do, so it does work, and it's cool. It's cool to see them come back around. And it absolutely, I mean, it's fun.
Yeah, it's always exciting when you do good and then good things come back, in much of the same way. And so would you consider that to be what I call your secret sauce, the thing you feel kind of sets you or your business apart and makes it unique? Is it that approach to doing good, to being part in building that community, and that empathetic marketing that you talked about as well?
100%. And it's, for me, it's, even if a business owner says, hey, we need a proposal for a website, right? And we put something together for them, and they come back and say, hey, we found somebody else that was a little, cheaper or whatever, and I think we're going to go with them. I never look at that scenario as a loss. I look at that scenario as an opportunity, and just say, hey, I totally understand, but you have my email address. So if at any point you feel uncomfortable, or hey, they send you something and you're not sure what it means, feel free to reach out to me. And just being a decent person, it's substantial in your ability to kind of grow your business and be able to sleep better at night, and I realized that early on, with the first 6 months or so of starting Metro Nova Creative full time, and the whole, start of empathetic marketing thing was around that time, because I'd be like, all right, everyone buy a logo from me. And no one did, and I was like, well, I'm on Facebook and I'm telling everyone to buy logos. So I don't know why I'm not getting logos. But then it occurred to me, like, I didn't want to buy everyone's stuff that they were, all their MLMs, and, everyone wants you to buy a LuLaRoe thing back then. And I'm like, well, heck, if I don't want to buy stuff on Facebook because I'm like overwhelmed with the amount of people pushing stuff, then I can't imagine anybody else does either. And so, that's where empathy comes in. Is I started putting myself in their shoes and be like, well, if they're a business owner, what do they actually want? And what they want to know is how to not have a sucky business. And so I just started writing, I just started doing videos, and just writing articles and blog posts and doing as much as I could to just give people advice and, help them out and point them in the right direction. And even if they couldn't afford, we have somebody that messages me almost weekly with a question. It's like, I can't wait to be able to afford you guys, and that's kind of an interesting thing to get. They'll be like, I'm growing my business. I can't afford you yet, but I'm saving and I can't wait until we get to that point and work with you. And that's what you get out of that. If you're a decent person, I mean, we're with BNI, the giver's gain, what you give out, you'll gain back eventually. And I believe in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that it manifests and shows itself in so many different ways in what you're doing. And again, putting yourself into somebody else's shoes rather than thinking from your vantage point and seeing how can I truly provide value, not just so that I can build something today or tomorrow or get this project, that project, or so that I can build something long term and really have that really good, community feel through everything that you do. So absolutely appreciate that secret sauce. And so I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO hack. So this could be like an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but what's something that makes you more effective and efficient?
So there could be a number of things. I think probably, we can like loop it back a little bit to what I was saying, like after, you've got that first year and a half of the hashtag hustle life and all that. I think the most important thing you can do early on, like once you started getting some revenue going in the business, you need to do a couple of things. First, you got to get a bookkeeper, so that's, I mean, such an amazing priority that people overlook. They're like, I can do my own QuickBooks. It's not that big of a deal. But I'm like, yeah, but if you look at the hourly rate for a bookkeeper, right? Like even in kind of a middle of the road bookkeeper, it probably is grossly under the amount of hourly, your hourly billing for one of your clients, right? So an hour of, if you reconcile your accounts and at the end you have 10 cents off and then you're spending an hour and a half figuring out where the 10 cents went, you could have used that hour and a half to be billing out projects for clients. So I think get a bookkeeper, get a CPA, get a banker that you trust. If you don't have a personal relationship with your business banker, you're doing it wrong. It makes a tremendous amount of difference. Yeah, I mean, getting those kind of core elements situated early on is really, really important, those support features. But then once you've got the business going, make tons of notes and build the system, right? So like go the Henry Ford route and build a system to onboard, process, and offboard client work. And as soon as you get that really working well, hire somebody, teach them how to use the system, get their feedback on the system, adjust, get to a new point, hire another person. Like I'm a firm believer that the reason that we've been going this long and doing well and being profitable and growing every year is because I spent a lot of time, hiring the right team and delegating. I'm a big believer in, get good at something, but it's like, I always say, delegate what you're good at so you can excel at what you're great at. And that's like the big truth secret. Like that's, it's incredibly important that you put people in positions like that can support what you're doing and take care of them. I mean, that's another one is, we're a small business. So our design staff, like they could easily go somewhere else and make more money. But I'm a big fan of just treating your people well. And, hey, somebody messaged me, hey, my kid's not feeling good. Is it okay if I work from home? Absolutely. Like you should never be in a position where you have to decide if you're going to be a mom or an employee. So, you might be a small business and you might not be able to have, big salaries and benefits and all these things, but you can give people a work environment that's productive and healthy and just delegate, and let the team be awesome and take care of them. Because if you don't get to play the game anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. We forget a lot of times the people that are on our team are the reason by which we're able to kind of do, all these awesome things that we're able to do in our businesses and organizations. And, people and processes are so important and huge. And I think we brought up a really great point as well, too, is I think so many times when we think of being able to kind of hire and build a team, we're automatically thinking of this is the hourly rate, this is the salary, whatever that we can pay somebody. But a lot of times, just like with marketing that we talked about before, putting yourself in a person's shoes, understanding and giving them that opportunity or that environment to be great is so important. And it's not always having to do with what the paycheck is or how much they're making in terms of bonuses or things like that. So if you really sit down and get empathetic about our people as well too, it gives you that opportunity to really create something great and allow people to be phenomenal as well too.
Yeah, and as the business grows, like I haven't given myself a raise in like a year and a half, but it's like as the business grows, like 1 month I'll pull somebody in the office and say, hey, I'm giving you an extra $1 an hour this month, and then the next month is this, and so you just stay, kind of ease into it and stage it up and raise people to, and my staff tells me like, this is where I want to be, and I said, okay, I'm going to work really hard to get you there, and so I mean it's important, like I said, as a small business, you're not going to be able to do what they're going to get from a firm or a little bit of a larger company, but you can at least give them a good work-life balance type of situation, and it's been working. Like I actually have been working at home a lot. My wife and I just had another baby, and so
Congrats.
thank you. And so I don't get into the office or with the team very often, and I think last week, like I was like, I'm gonna get a day in the office. It's gonna be great, and I went in and sat down, and after like an hour, I was like, I don't have anything to do. I told my wife, I was like, they don't need me anymore.
That's good.
They're all fine. She's like, well, that's what they do. They're the little baby birds, and then they grow up and they fly away, and they don't need you anymore. I'm like, man, I know, but I mean, I guess it shows that we're doing it the right way.
Yeah, it's so funny. I was talking with somebody and I saw sometimes we have to reframe what success looks like. And a lot of times success is being able to quote unquote take a vacation or to be able to step away and not have everything fall apart. And that means that you've been building a real business. You've done the Henry Ford thing, as you referenced as well too. It allows you that opportunity to really create those processes, get the right people in place, and then be able to kind of see them execute for the clients.
Yeah, absolutely. I even went in there the other day and it was like, sad Charlie Brown music behind me. I was like, are you sure? I gotta go. Is anybody? And like one of the staff's like, yeah, we're fine, man. Like, I was like, okay.
There you go.
They're amazing. I mean, a little shout out, Laura and Brandy, Sophie, Emily, Leanne. I mean, they're awesome. We just had our staff meeting and they just breezed through everything. They're like, well, I got this and I got this. And it's just great. It's great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they become extension, to the clients and they're serving the clients. So if you take care of them, then they take care of the clients and vice versa. It creates this really phenomenal circle. So I wanted to now ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on this show. So Dan, what does being a CEO mean to you?
Being a CEO is a dirty word to me. I just wanted to make logos, man. No, I think, really, I'll look at it as in a sense of, being a leader. And I think I'm a big believer in leading from behind, so I'm not out front pulling the group. I'm behind them, kind of pushing from behind and helping them up the hill. I think, being the face of the company has a lot of obligations that don't even really materialize in the business itself as far as the operations go. I mean, it's a lot of making sure that you're there to support your team and make sure that you're there to support your community, which is a really big part of my job now, is utilizing our platform to support others and to help our city. And we're doing a ton of work. We're doing a really big project right now, which is exciting. We're using QR codes and videos to invite people to walk through downtown Fredericksburg and scan doors, and then they can meet the business owner from a safe place outside.
Nice.
See a video. So, I mean, that's, being a CEO and being a leader. I mean, when you're the face of the business, your obligation is to put the business in the best light and support the community that supported you. So that's what a CEO or a leader to me is somebody that's willing to do what's necessary to grow the business. But you also, like I said, you have to be humble. Like I don't want to give up all the design jobs. I want to do all the fun design jobs, but you have to understand that that's not your position anymore, and so that's what it is, just being humble, understanding, stepping away so your team can flourish, supporting them and growing the business. That's what it is.
Nice. That's incredibly powerful because you're empowering, the people that are on your team and you're making an impact. And I think sometimes we look at that impact, within the services we provide. But of course, like you said so well, a lot of times it's the impact that you have on the people, but also the people within the community in which we live and we work and we play and we frequent, and, all of those different aspects. And I think when we have that kind of, I guess, holistic look at, entrepreneurship and business and our roles, and not getting as caught up in the titles and things, that's when we truly start to make a tremendous impact. So, Dan, truly appreciate that definition, and I appreciate your time even more. What I wanted to do is pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and listeners know, and of course, how best they can get hold of you and find out about all the awesome things you and your team are working on.
Yeah, thanks. So if you're interested in seeing some of the services that we have, you can go to metronovacreative.com. There's a packages tab, so if you want to see some stuff that we've put together, a couple of the specials that we got going on that really people are really focused on right now is the startup special. So you can get a logo and a 3-page WordPress website and your Facebook graphics for one flat price. And we're doing landing pages and logos. So that was the new service. You can find all that there. Plus, there's just a ton of articles. So if you go to the article section, we have a lot of stuff. In January, we'll have a bunch of articles about, starting New Year's resolutions for your business. And so we're going to put together some checklists that I think will be really beneficial that you can print out actually and like follow along. Like, here are the things that we should be doing to start the new year. So those are a lot of great resources on there. You can look us up on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. We're kind of all over the place. I just, if you're starting a business or you've got a business that you've been running for a long time and you just, have some questions, we're always there and we're always available. I do offer some consulting. So if you're not there to hire us on for a marketing package or something like that, and you just want somebody that you can bounce ideas off of and kind of point you in the right direction, I'm happy to do that too. So we're just, excited to be able to support businesses and help them grow. And small businesses are the backbone of the country. We gotta make sure they all succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll definitely have the links and information in the show notes as well too, so that everybody can follow up with you. But just like you said, it's so important to keep these, small to medium sized businesses as close to being able to succeed as possible. And I appreciate you for providing resources today, but also on the site and all the awesome services you and your team provide to be able to make that happen. So appreciate you again, my friend. And I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
All right, man. You too.